Not only are you just telling this girl you liked her after denying her, friend zoning her this entire time, you're proposing. Welcome to the Vida Rosa. I'm your host, Pinky, and today we're going to be talking about Bridgerton. So if you'd like to see more, then just stay tuned. But before we begin, I would like for everyone to know that I have a huge sale on my website right now where you can find cute accessories like the ones I'm wearing right now and also these right here. Make sure you click that link down below or check out the QR code. Like, comment, and subscribe. Without further ado, let's get into this video. I'm not gonna lie, it took me a minute to get through this season. Bridgerton season 1, I feel like was decent. I wasn't completely overjoyed or wowed by it, but it was interesting. It kept my attention. Bridgerton season 2, I feel like I have an unpopular opinion. I found that season to be kind of boring. It took so long to get to the point. And then when it did get to the point, I wasn't all the way sold on the Kate and Anthony relationship. I don't know. It didn't do it for me. I can't even lie. I feel like the best part of that season was the part where Eloise found out that Penelope was Lady Whistledown. I did like that part, but outside of that, it's just... But I feel like the only thing that kept me going with Bridgerton was Queen Charlotte. Not now. One of these seasons are touching Queen Charlotte. Okay? Low-key, after watching this, I want to go back and watch that because I'm like... Why am I into this again? I feel like the subplots of this season didn't give it all. Like, I'm really not interested in that middle brother and the secret, scandalous relationship he has going on with that blonde. I don't care nothing about that. The Baron of Kent, that's the child of the bartender, and they came into all this wealth and we see them navigate that. Y'all, I wanted to be into it so bad because it's a black couple. They were giving nothing. I didn't understand the agony of her not wanting to buy new clothes. I just wasn't into it. So if I don't talk about those storylines like that, just know it's because I barely paid attention when they were on the screen. It just was like watching paint dry. So then we have Francesca, and this is her first year being eligible to get married, and she's just very indifferent about everything. She's more so interested in playing her piano, very similarly to Eloise. She's just not good at the social aspect of it all, mingling with the other girls, talking about the type of man they want. She just kind of wanted to get it over with. I don't know. She really isn't into like the whole dating scene. She was very skeptical of finding a true love like her parents anyway, because their story was so fantastic. She just felt that she would never be able to live up to that. Meanwhile, Queen Charlotte is putting on this stoic, bored demeanor with all the young ladies that are coming through, when really she is just mad that she got her pick wrong last season. I watched Queen Charlotte, but still, when I see her with these huge headpieces, I'm like, how does she even hold her head up? They are so beautiful, by the way. So Queen Charlotte wasn't too interested in Francesca in the beginning, but Lord Danbury pulled her to the side when she was playing her piano at one of the parties. She snuck off to do this, and Queen Charlotte found that very endearing, that she's just so into her pianos that she just does it for herself, not to impress anybody, that she chose her as the diamond of the season. So because of that, she introduced her to one of the high value lords. I feel like she was gonna go along to get along when it came to this situation, until he said he wanted 8 kids, and she grew up in a big family herself. She didn't want all them kids, so that kind of turned her off. But then she bumped into Lord Kilmartin, who was very quirky, a little bit offbeat. When they first met each other, they literally just sat in silence, but she loved that. That is something that really intrigued her. We'll see more from those two in the next part, but we see the romantic relationship starts to bud. Mother Bridgerton vowed to stay out of this girl business and stop meddling, because the last time she did that with Eloise, you see how that turned out. So she said she was going to stay out of it, even though she be trying to say a little bit here and there. But it turns out she got a little distracted with her own love life, okay? Lady Danbury's brother came in town and they've been giving each other the eye. And honestly, this is a little bit of payback for Lady Danbury messing around with her daddy when she was a kid. Child, that's still scandalous. I'm just gonna go ahead and have to say that the Bridgerton women are literally the Kardashians of this show, because what is up with all these black men? The oldest sister married a black man, Francesca found her a black man, and Kris Jenner, aka Mother Bridgerton, found her a Corey. So I'm just like, y'all definitely have a type. And then we see that Kate and Anthony are going strong. We see that the mother has not moved out from Kate and Anthony's home since he's now the Viscount. She's the, Lady Viscount? I forgot how that goes. But they decided they're not ready for her to move out yet, and they want to extend their honeymoon in order to work on producing an heir. That's her big project of the season. So let's move on to the main storyline. Colin comes home and he's acting different. He's being charming. All the ladies are just suing. Oh, Colin. Oh, you're so handsome. Just falling out all over him, and he's feeling himself. He's putting on this false bravado and doing what he thinks he's supposed to do in this situation. We also see Eloise acting different. Ever since she fell out with Penelope over revealing that she had fell in love with a commoner and basically ruined her entire love life, she decided that if you can't beat him, join him. So she started wearing ruffles and hanging out with Cressida, who is literally the ops. It looks like she really does miss the friendship between her and Penelope, because she really doesn't have anything in common with the rest of the girls who are interested in sewing and talking about love interests and things like that, things they were raised to do, while her and Penelope would discuss writing, books, things of that nature. So then we get to Penelope and her family and her scamming mama. She found a way to get themselves back in good standing and being able to use the scamming money by claiming that their aunt died and left her all the money. That's the story she's selling for right now, even though the tax collector or whatever he does, he's not buying it. But she's getting away with it at the moment. In order to get whatever money or keep their name or whatever, her married daughters must produce a male heir. And mind you, her sisters really remind me of the stepsisters from Roger and Hammerstein's Cinderella, the one with Brandy. Very goofy, kind of slow, don't make sense. I'm just a little bit confused with the husbands. They're not attracted to them at all. At first I'm like, are the husbands gay? Like I said, they're supposed to be producing an heir, but one sister is like, she just does not like the act with him. She doesn't like doing that with him. One sister thought she was doing it, but they had not actually consummated their marriage yet. And I'm like, what's going on here? After dealing with those weirdo sisters, the mom turned to Penelope and was like, well, at least I'll always have you to take care of me. That lit a fire in Penelope, okay? Because Penelope said, oh no ma'am, I'm about to find me a man this season. She goes immediately to the dress shop in order to switch up her wardrobe, getting rid of that hideous citrus eyesore of a color that they love so much. She trying to step her game up, but she ended up running into Eloise in the shop, and you could tell Penelope is just completely lost without Eloise. She decided to hide out elsewhere that summer because she was scared that Eloise was going to reveal her secret. And that's how you know Eloise was a true friend, because she didn't expose her, even though she had every right to. Penelope ended up apologizing and claimed that she did it in order to protect her. And to a certain extent, I believe that. But Penelope, let's be real, you was doing it to protect yourself too. Because somehow this would have trickled back down on you. So you was trying to throw off the scent. I just feel like she really could have confided in her about that. I feel like she would have been mad at first, but I feel like she would have eventually come around. And then on top of that, you kind of had her looking stupid while she was like on this hunt to find out who Lady Whistledown was. And you know, it was you the whole time. You're supposed to be her best friend. You could have at least, you know what I'm saying? I probably would have told her at that point. But then she had the nerve to confront her about being friends with Cressida. Girl, you have no leg to stand on right now. Even if she is being friends with her out of spite, that ain't none of your business. So then that night at Lady Danbury's party, she popped out with a green lacy number, okay? She had on her black lace gloves, had all the sleeve pushed up, and shook the room, child. Everybody stopped and stared like, who is that? I know that ain't Penelope. She finally out of that orange and green. Oh, wow, okay. Y'all, I ain't gonna lie. She looked beautiful. She looked amazing. The lady that plays her, I believe she's in her mid to late 30s. But when I look at her, I see a child. She just looks so young. Like, I couldn't really grasp the full effect. I feel like they were trying to make her look more like a woman, or, you know, give her this sexy look. And it just wasn't hitting for me. I wasn't convinced. Even though she did look beautiful, it was a better look and everything. And then on top of that, from that point on, every time we saw Penelope, she was squeezed to high heaven. She just looked like she couldn't breathe. You know, I feel like they could have loosened up that corset just a little bit, because every time I would see her breathe, you could visibly see her chest going like that, especially when she was about to get caught or nervous. It's just huge breaths, because you could tell she was just squoze so tight. I was like, okay, but anyway, she looked amazing regardless. Men were approaching her and she was stumbling and fumbling. She just didn't know how to react because she's not used to getting that sort of attention. She's used to blending in with the background. She's never had to actually flirt or, you know, court a man. And so, I don't know, that part of it was very relatable, because I remember when I first started dating, I didn't know what I was doing either. Very nervous. To this day, I feel like I'm very clunky when it comes to stuff like that. Cressida clearly was jealous that she was getting all this attention, and she came over, stepped on her dress and ripped it. Baby, whatever I had in my hand would have fell right on her dress. She ran off because she was embarrassed, and Eloise did check her about that and tell her, that's why you don't have a man now. I was like, dang. She was like, that's why you don't have a man now, because of how you act. It's because of how you act. So Colin saw that she ran out, and he came after her, wondering why she had been acting funny. You know, she really had been very standoffish since he came home. Penelope has had a crush on Colin bad since day one. Since day one, she's wanted Colin. But when she last saw him, she overheard him telling some other guys that he would never court her. And so when he came out to console her, like, why haven't you written me? She was like, well, because of what you said to them men. You told them you would never court me. Why is that? And he was like, we could talk about this later. She was like, oh, why? Because I embarrass you? Because everybody be clowning me behind my back and you don't want to be seen talking to me? After that little exchange, she went straight home and started scribbling in that burn book and calling him all types of fake and phony under the guise of Lady Whistledown. She put that out before she had a chance to talk to him again. And turns out the next time she did talk to him, he apologized and was singing her praises and how much he cared about her as a friend. And offers to teach her how to be charming and how to be able to get a husband this season. And she instantly regrets making that post. Even though this is like, you know, set back in the day, it feels like when you post something on social media, whether it's a subtweet or whether you say something crazy about somebody online and your feelings change, and you go back and try to delete the post, but it's too late. That's kind of what it felt like, except for back in that time period. Obviously, when he read what was written about him, he was very upset. He said that he would never forgive Lady Whistledown, and that if he ever found out who she was, he would ruin her. And so, of course, she was over here breathing hard, scared, nervous, and shook. Pretty much she's doing the same thing with him that she did with Eloise. Why would you let him say these things? Why would you allow things to go like this to go on for so long? Even if he does turn around and hate you for it. Like, didn't you see that didn't work? That cost you your best friend. Why would you, then do the same thing in this situation? It doesn't make any sense to me. I feel like the show is trying to show the tension or chemistry between these two. I just don't see it. I saw it maybe it was at the first or second season. I saw some sort of tension before, but this season it just felt really forced. Like I really wasn't getting that between these two. And I feel like their storyline was so rushed. I don't know. I wasn't they should have done a little bit more character development or something. I wasn't convinced. He invites her over his house and she reluctantly comes in. She was like, I should not be here while your family is not here. Eloise gonna have a problem with this. And sure enough, Eloise came home early. And so she had to go hide out in his room. While she's in his room, she's up there reading his journal. How would you like it if somebody came in and read your journal and found out you were Lady Whistledown? Like, I felt like that was so hypocritical of her to do. She ended up getting caught doing it. Not only did she get caught reading his journal, she got caught by Eloise on the way out. It's like, obviously she hurries up and leaves. And Colin is once again asking, like, why did y'all fall out? Like, they keep being very vague about why their friendship ended for obvious reasons. But she told him, look, I don't mind if you're friends with her. You might be her only friend at this point. It was really seeming hopeless for Penelope until she ran into Lord Remington, who is a disabled man. And they had a really good conversation about gossip and how he likes to read Lady Whistledown. And you know, that piqued her interest because she is Lady Whistledown. She was getting charmed by him a little bit, and Colin came over to ask about it. And then all of a sudden, the whole room decided they wanted to start gossiping about how they found out that Colin was actually training Penelope in order to find a husband. And they literally said it in front of everybody. You're trying to help that spinster find a husband? Earlier that day, Eloise told Cressida this, so she automatically assumed that it was Cressida that spread the rumor, and she actually didn't. I was shocked. I really thought she was going to be the one to tell it, but she didn't. I guess somebody overheard Eloise saying it. So once again, here go Penelope storming. I feel like Penelope, whenever the going gets tough, Penelope get going. That kitchen gets hot, she gonna take off like a rocket every single time. I'm like, girl. And yes, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing, but she do this every single time. Because Penelope is Lady Whistledown, and this was like the talk of the town, she had to put her own self on blast, which I know was I know that was kind of like weird to basically be roasting your own self. She just brought a lot of embarrassment, not only to herself, but to her family, and her mother was going in on her. Basically, I don't know why you was asking him for help. You never had a chance in the first place. It's been 3 years and you've had no prospects. And I'm like, dang, mama. So obviously she was looking hurt by that. And so to make her feel better, she was like, well, girl, a man ain't all this cracked up to be anyway. I'd rather have a man than have to sit up here and deal with you for the rest of my life. I hate to say that, but her mama is not an easy person to deal with. Colin dropped by that night and they secretly met with each other. He was just trying to make her feel better, whatever. And at some point, she just ended up begging for a kiss. I've never been kissed. I don't want to die without having kissed someone. Penelope, you are literally 15. Like, she kissed him like a pro. She kissed him like that was not her first kiss. It kind of rocked his world and ran off. And he was sitting there shook. He was like, oh. Once again, I wasn't feeling it. I wasn't believing it. But still, in the moment, we're supposed to be like, oh, I never. Even though he goes to a brothel regularly, I find it hard to believe that kiss shook him that much. But anyway, we're going to go with it. Penelope was so embarrassed by what had happened and the fact that it was plastered in the newspaper. She spent the entire week in her room. She just could not take any of the scrutiny. And Eloise came to visit. And she basically came and apologized and said that pretty much it got out because of her, but not on purpose. She wasn't purposely trying to embarrass her. And pretty much wished her luck and left. She, you know, it wasn't to rekindle the friendship. She just felt she owed it to her to say that. That's when Penelope told Colin, look, this is embarrassing enough. I think we should just keep our distance from now on because I just can't continue to be, you know, looked at this way. I mean, I am trying to get a husband and all. And so she ended up bumping into Lord Debling, who is very obsessed with nature and he likes to go on these long trips alone in nature and things like that. He's kind of like a little awkward, and she's kind of awkward herself, so they kind of connected on the fact that they don't necessarily fit in. Mind you, Cressida has her eyes set on this man as well because he has money, and she doesn't want her parents to be the one to choose her husband. And that's exactly what's going to happen to her unless she finds a husband this season. They have this hot air balloon situation happen. And y'all, this scene was probably the most ridiculous scene of the season. Was the hot air balloon supposed to hurt Penelope? It literally was coming at her in slow motion, and she was just standing there like, I don't know what to do. She clearly could have stepped to the side 2 paces and been out of harm's way. And it was going like in slow motion. So she was not going to be hurt. We see Colin on one side trying to grab the ropes and, keep it from harming Penelope. But who really saved her was Lord Debling. And he didn't even move her out the way. He didn't even pick her up and move her. He just came in and covered her. I'm like, both of y'all would have been crushed. Both Penelope and Cressida were competing for the attention of Lord Debling. And Penelope, what he liked about her is that she was herself and that she didn't try to change herself in order to be appealing to him. And when she was competing with Cressida for him, she was pretending, and he saw straight through that, and that made him turn his sights toward Cressida. Cressida faked the injury and everything to try to get him, and he was falling for that, but you ain't gonna fall for it with Penelope. I'm like, you full of it anyway. Eventually, she did come back to him, apologized for being fake, and was really vulnerable and let him know, let him see the real her, that she likes to read books and that she's kind of a wallflower, and she's not good at these things. And once again, this drew him back in. At this point, Lord Debling has his sights set on Penelope. He told her mother that he wants to propose, and it's almost set in stone. Mind you, Penelope was already a little hesitant when he asked her mom for her hand in marriage, and her mom was just like, girl, you crazy. This is what you've been working for this entire time. You haven't had any prospects so far. And this man with money now wants to court you. He wants to marry you. And you should not hold out for love. You should go for security. They're at this ball and they're dancing. And right as he's trying to work up the courage in order to ask Penelope for her hand in marriage, here comes Colin, interrupting their dance. I don't like this because it reeks of, I only want you now because I can't have you. Now this other man is coming to get you. Now all of a sudden I want to come in and profess my love for you. Y'all, this love story is not doing it for me. It's not, because I'm just like, you've been denying her. You've been saying you didn't want to be with her. You've been friend zoning her this entire time. It's almost as if you knew she wasn't ever going to get a man and she will always be there for you to come back to. And now all of a sudden you want to profess your love. Like I said, here comes Colin coming in, interrupting their dance. She told him that she planned on marrying Lord Debling. And he was like, well, I'm not going to sit here and watch you make a mistake. Not even saying, I love you. I want you. I want to be that man for you. I want to step up and do that. No, he's not the right one. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I would have snatched away from him so quick. Then she runs back to Lord Debling in order to try to salvage this proposal. And by that time, Cressida had already got to him and told him that he should stay away from Penelope because she was secretly in love with Colin. And it clicked in his mind that the reason why she loves to sit at that window, she told him before she loves to sit in her window. It clicked in his mind that she loved to sit in that window because she got to look at Colin all the time. Pretty much she effectively threw a wrench in the plan and stopped that whole engagement. And also he confronted Penelope about being attracted to Colin, and she just couldn't deny it, and pretty much that ended that. I don't even think Cressida even had a chance with him after that, Girl, you did all that for what? The man didn't even want you after that. Lord Debling storms out. The mom sees their exchange and she's like, what did you do? And she was like, so you're not even going to ask me if I'm okay. You're not going to ask me what happened. You're just going to be concerned that the man ran off. So, of course, she stormed out. That's Penelope's go-to move, is to storm out. So she runs out. She hops in the carriage and tries to go home. Colin stops the carriage, jumped in. And this is where he truly professes his love. He starts making out. And then they went a little further than that. And I'm just like, where did this come from? All this from that kiss? Not only did they make out and do whatever they did in that carriage, he proposed out of nowhere. Out of nowhere. Not only are you just telling this girl you liked her after denying her, friend zoning her this entire time, you're proposing. Y'all, that didn't make any sense at all. I know in that time period, people got engaged quick, married quick. I understand that, but this didn't make any sense. It was very confusing. It was frustrating because I'm just like, Penelope, at least put your foot down and say, I'm not just about to be somebody you just gonna pick up whenever you feel like it. And especially after you ruined my proposal with someone else that I possibly wanted to be with. Like, you were very inconsiderate with that too. So I don't know, y'all. But that was it for part 1. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this review. I would love to hear your opinion. And I hope you enjoyed this video. And I'll see you in my next one. Peace.